Hey everyone, it's Alex from Radd, and we're here today joined by Ben from XM Studios. Ben and I have just been having a few conversations in his office, and I thought, you know what, this would be great to share with the community. So this is going to be a 2 or 3 part set videos. So one to do with pricing, which we're going to go over now. So Ben, how you doing, first of all?
Hi everyone, I'm Ben from XM Studios. I'm good. Good to see you. Now I miss you a lot. It's good that we have So it's good that you're back in Singapore again. And we have been talking about a few issues. And I was sharing with Alex, so you think that maybe we should do a video to share your community.
So yeah, one of the things, as we're saying, was pricing. And lately we've seen a big increase in the price of statues. I know that I'm guilty of this, and others are too, where we'd always say that, this piece was sold for this price. Why now, years later, is this now here? So we went over a few points of what can affect pricing. So did you want to go over some of the trends?
So we went through a fair bit on how actually producer like us calculate and come to the retail price. I believe you'll be surprised on the budget.
I was very surprised. He showed me a very in-depth Excel spreadsheet, and the margins are a lot lower than I thought they were going to be.
Yes. So we talk about like the productions, cost of production start even at the very beginning of a concept stage, right? Concept art, concept design, which we need to pay to the artist, right? 3D sculpt that we need to pay to the artist. 3D print for the first prototype, and subsequently the pre-production pieces and marketing price, the packaging price, a lot of price.
Well, one of the ones
the amount to pay to the licensor.
One of the ones that really stood out was the first print.
Yeah, the 3D print.
Yeah, so the 3D print for the statue we were looking at was close to 50,000.
Yeah, $1 just to print the statues, right? So it's crazy. The price has been going up not only from the factories, the material involved, especially, and of course, due to COVID, right, a lot of other costs incurred. So I would say that I've been producing a statue for 10 years. 10 years ago and 10 years now, right, pricing is really high in terms of production side, right? Factoring cost, the labor, and everything will be coming down.
I think if there's a price for artists going up as well.
Of course, depending on the quality of artists you use, right? There are artists out there that are charging a bit lesser, but for us, we hope that we want to bring the best collectibles to the community, right? So the artists we use are richly agreed, and richly they cost a bit more. For us, is I say since day one, it has never changed. Is to put the best collectibles to the community. So I've been reading in the community this past months or years. People has been complaining about the price and the statues going up, that the company are greedy, their producers are greedy, they want to earn more money. But after going through, we feel the costing, or like say, of the surprise of the margin that they make.
I think there's a lot of prices that people don't consider. I hear a lot of people are quite naive, and they'll say, well, how comes there's a custom piece with a lower edition size, they're able to sell it at X, and if you're producing something similar at Y, there's so many things involved where they don't have to do this.
So custom company usually, I would say, one man show, right? We have like 80 to 100 staff that is working with XM, right? We need to cover all the expenses and so on, and of course the royalty, right? We pay royalty to licensor. Custom pieces is really at zero royalty they need to pay, and depending on the quality of the work they put out, right? So they can engage sort of lower skill factory to help them produce. And take note that all the factory that we're using must be audited, right? They must pass through all the social audit by the license, so on and so on, and they are all cost incurred, right? We cannot just select any factories to use.
Yeah. Well, the delays involved by license approval, these will costs, whether that's just warehouse storage, whether that's data production, or whichever.
Yeah, so I mean, like one man company versus 80 to 100 people, right? And also marketing costs, right? And then the packaging was important, right? You're quite surprised when you saw the mold that it cost to make the polyfoam.
Yeah. So yeah, the polyfoam was the packaging. So just the corresponding costs are quite high as well for
And we are not even talking about the color printed outer box. I mean, packaging box, and then there's a lot of cost involved of operating a licensed production company versus
Listen, then with the XN pieces, specifically that war tank, there's quite a lot of the costs for the metals as well. So again,
the annual we call it the annual more cost. Like there's a lot of parts that we need to produce in maybe PVC or plastic, so that it doesn't break so easily. Even some of the parts is metal, so to produce those PVC and plastic part, you need cast iron room, which costs quite a lot. And if you were to CNC a metal part, it costs you.
Sure. Because there is a bit of a stigma attached to PVC, which is a bit unfair, which is that PVC is cheap and PVC is like, if people see it as a lower grade material at times. And I think in this hobby, when someone says, oh, there's a PVC out, they assume the companies are cheapened down.
I think they have the wrong view on it. Actually, PVC doesn't mean that they are low grade, right? In fact, some of the PVC material costs even more than resin productions, right? It's just when we choose the material to produce, we see whether the material fit, the usage of our statues, right? We don't just produce everything in resin, right? Some pieces they will break easily. We still choose to use a PU material or PVC material, right? It's not because we want to keep the cost low. Actually, the more of the PVC is so much more expensive.
But that's the things like if you were going to make, we're surrounded by Kubricks. If you're going to make Kubricks where it's the same mold but different paint, and you're going to make 10,000 of those PVC, that makes it cheap.
Of course,
if you produce a statue of 250, that cost of that mold is divided up by about 250.
Exactly,
And it's going to be very hard.
very hard. That's right.
No regard, yeah. So that's something that people don't really consider. Also, because that was one of the things where people will say, I bought the first cable and it cost me, I think it was 1,000, said, I told you. No. Yeah, no. Yeah, right, no. And so I bought that, and now you've released a new one, and it's, 1,700 or so. That's double the price or so. How can you justify this? And if you're greedy and will just try to capitalize on the character, what's your defense for that? Already it's justified.
So, for collectors that understand on the amount of cost or amount of work they take to produce the statues, right? Since from concept art design to the product, we start in the market may take a year. And they know that the cost top shit. Versus those that just think that we have green money. It's pointless to explain to me. Sometimes I feel that I don't want to talk so much on Facebook. It's like the more you want to talk about it, the more people want to put you down. So she's why that we feel that maybe we should do a session on discussing on it and share the.
It is unfortunate because looking at the tape of pricing terms, that does tear up quite a lot, and there are points on there which I would love to discuss, but thought as a business you can't discuss your real back end in that way. And yeah, I was very surprised with some of the margins being what they were.
I think XM is the only studios that still put out the pieces even when the pre-order number is low, or even when we are losing money. Right?
That's what's kind of getting at, but I do roll with people to bring it off.
Yeah, so to me, it's a commitment to the connectors, right? So since we already put out pre-order, people order it, the XM team is always, in the same since day one that we want to put out collectibles, best collectibles. It's not about of course, every business, it must make money. If not, we cannot continue with what we are doing, right?
Well, even if you took 50 orders, for example, if you then to cancel the product, you still lose money.
Exactly. Right?
So either way, you're going to lose this much or you're going to lose that much.
Yeah, so might as well we just put it out, and then go on to the next design. Yeah.
For sure. And what do you see as then like a future for collectibles? Do you think that because the pricing can't continue to go up, do you think that things will stabilize? Do you think that shipping will come down? Do you think that factory costs will come down? Or
I don't think factory costs will come down, right? I mean, that's how things has been, right? The shipping costs might come down over the years, but now, to me, shipping is on all-time high.
For instance, once people pay it, they know.
Yeah, the price is on all-time high. I mean, we have tried all means to cut down on shipping costs right now. So even the shipping costs that we publish on our website is the corporate rate that we gotten from, all the services, the freight services. We don't even mark up anything at all, right? So a lot of people still say, oh, you're earning from the shipping, why is it so expensive? And shipping is something that not we can control.
Well, you're based in Singapore, which is one of the most expensive places to ship from. So
yeah, right. So it's not, shipping is something that we cannot control, right? I mean, the whole world is having the same issues. So I think as a producer, the only thing we can continue to do is to put out good products, right? I think shipping should come down, hopefully over the next 6 to 9 months.
I don't know if I've put this on the video or not, but that's a point which I've been kind of talking about recently, which was that, XM put pieces out which are cent pieces here, and we discussed this earlier, and I've discussed this with other people, where you could have someone's house and there could be this table in front, you had a 1 cent piece on there from XM, and if you went away and said to clean list 15 cent pieces that XM have made, so you can then say backward sanity, what have encouraged, should be no justice, Hulkbuster, or Tower War Side, Hulk Transformation, Post. You have such a list of these impressive kind of set of pieces, but on the flip side of that, with the prices increasing, can you continue to make these portfolio pieces, or do you need to then look into making maybe more, going back to kind of museum poses or something like that, so that people are being more forward-looking projects?
So for me, is we always challenge ourselves on creative side. Why not to which is the next Iron Man that you can produce that is better than War Tank? Which is the next Ghost Rider that you can do? Which is the next Iron Man? Which is the next? So we are always using ourselves as a competitors to compare the design that we have produced before and now, and what I'm going to do next, right? So yes, the price of statue now is high, and it does affect or does stop you from buying. But I believe that there are a lot of collectors out there that still love quality products.
Of course.
And this is the signature of XM, right? I think we will not change it, but maybe I think we have already started, which is that we offered a 1.4 and a 1.6 scale of the same design. So collectors that still want to get the piece of it, can always go for the smaller version of it, which is a 1.6 and it's a 1.5.
Is there any possibility that that could be the case with Marvel?
Basically, we do have license for 1.6. We used to do the X-Men markers in 1.6, right? So we are discussing with the team to come out, more design based on 1.6. But we'll share with the community more when we have a clearer picture.
That is something very interesting because, I mean, obviously there are a lot of people who do flock the school with scales and they don't have the space to do this big a piece. There may even be a thing as well. What about if you did a specialised museum might? Or or is that not something of interest?
Then people will go back to, compare and review and Bowen again. What's the point of buying yours and versus Bowen as well at 1.6? Or
What yours? What less?
When it's too small,
I even need to recall scale there.
we might. So if you look at the few releases, current design that we have, we can see that actually most of our base are slightly smaller now, more compact. So we're working towards that first, and see how the response from the collectors are. All right, so everyone can just cup a superhero, put a small base and release it. But is it that's what XM want? I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll find all means to cut down the price of producing statues, right? But definitely a more simple museum design. We have been debating in our art team, we're saying with the art team whether that's maybe the direction we are going, but we still have not come to a conclusion that maybe a line that we want to push out in the future.
So yeah, and then because you've looked into kind of more PVC designs for other things like the Mickey Mouse and is there any chance of that being DC and Marvel?
We do have some plans in mind, but looking at how XM started as a creative studios, right? So when you look at the Mickey Mouse we produce, is mainly doing, for the more on the human market, right? The target human market, and those up and coming collectors that want something small. But we will continue to do core business, which to produce luxury high-end collectibles. I wouldn't say no with that. We might not. I think down the road, we will see how the community reacts and responds to a smaller PVC collectibles.
Yeah,
They may push out bit by bit. Yeah.
Well, because then moving on from that, obviously there's the back cave.
Yes, back cave is totally different. More on I would say 130 skill. It's more on the interactions that collectibles can play with their collectibles, right? And look at this quarter size statues and so on. They are so huge. Basically, just display them and that's it, right? For the back cave, we can still move around. We can tell our own stories. We can create our own back cave. So that's a totally cool concept, that we came up with. So definitely we're going to pre-order the back cave collectibles soon. We're looking at the quarter one.
Well, glad as we move forward because it kind of seemed to go a bit off the radar for the while.
It's quite hard to do the prototype, the engineer, and basically it's like create from scratch, from nothing, right? So we have to make sure that whatever we create is able to be produced into a collectibles.
It's I know what's going on. Topic. Is it like when you have the Mac King, for example, even though it's this big, the background is small, but is it still the same quality as, like, say, a quarter scale? So, say for example, if someone said, I love that design for this element of it. Will you blow it up and make a quarter scale, or if it would have the textures or have?
You definitely need to resculpt, because when we do the back cave, it's intended for 1/36. If you were to blow up to 1/6 or even 1/4 size, you need to risk up on the detail of the files, and definitely a lot of work need to be put onto it, be able to size it up to the bigger connectors.
You've even seen that with, I won't name any, but some other companies have had 1/6 scale pieces and blown them up to quarter scale and it work.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. So, I mean, sometimes if you're on Facebook, you get to see people, coming up with design based on XM concept, based on the ideas that we have. I mean, we're quite proud of it, that the people actually love it, right? It's not about stealing design, stealing ideas. Ideas is always there, but how do you execute it? If you're able to give someone ideas to execute, and they are able to come out with good connectors, to me is why not? So the better product that people can put out in the market, the better it is for the community. Right? I'm a connector myself. I'm tight. So I'm always happy to see, studios putting out good connectors.
Okay, now you've opened up a whole new thing. With that concept of people taking away from that decided to creating their own version, adding regular whatever they want to do, making it into an STL file, setting it for. I mean, the price of the STL files are nothing. I don't know how they make the money, but I don't know. It was like I think $50, yeah, $50 to his file. People load it out to one quarter scale, printing it. Do you think that with this technology is available now with STL files, improvements in scanning, you can now scan on your phone. You can use an app to 3D scan the phone. In the future, these are going to be better. These are going to be better, more perfected. Then the costs of 3D printers coming down. Do you think that this will affect the graphic model?
Yeah, I think it'll take another 10, 20 years for this to happen, right? Because the 3D printed material is not there to last long, which is the reason why whenever we print a prototype, we have to make a cast of it, because the printed prototype, the most will last you for 6 months to 9 months before it starts to crack. It starts to disintegrate the material issues. So until the technology is there to solve the material issues, and you still have the problem of painting it.
Yeah,
we still have connectables will always be there. I don't think it'll be phased off, and community will be there. Right. So even with the technology, if you can print yourself at home, well, you still have to be a good painter to paint it up yourself. And how doubt every connectors out there can do all this by themselves. Right. So I'm not worried about that. So the market is still good. We should still think of how we can come out better connectors. Right. For me, we have been researching on using better material, that will have lesser issues like mobbing issues, cracking, breaking, slanting. So if we talk about using clear resin, PU, using resin, what is the pro and con? So I think we should spend more time on R&D on material, and not worry about the technology out there that will take away our business.